Welcome to my 2025 full year market review. We are going to go month to month through the entire year of 2025, work out exactly how much money I made throughout the full year of doing handmade markets, a few craft fairs, a little one pop culture event, a couple of rural events and some festivals. It was a real mishmash of events last year, and we're going to go through it month by month, and then I'm going to tell you at the end of this video exactly how much I made for the full year from my markets and how much they cost me and my thoughts about markets overall moving forward for my business. If you haven't watched my videos before, welcome. I'm Rondell. My brand is Rondell Designs. I create art-based products and original art. So I do ceramics, greeting cards, stickers, keychains, quite a few different things. I do printables, coloring in sheets. I run workshops and I sell online, both retail and wholesale. I also do in-person events. And last year I did a lot of markets. We are changing direction this year because a lot of the markets I did last year weren't anywhere near as profitable as I would have liked them to be. And it ended up being a real grind. I booked too many events in, which meant I couldn't properly prep for new events and new directions. So definitely didn't make the most of my time last year, but it was a learning year. It was a throw spaghetti against the wall year, see what sticks. And I've learned so much from it. I've got so much data to look back on now and go, okay, this worked, this didn't work, and this is what we're going to do moving forward. So hopefully this video is helpful to you if you're a creative business or you're someone who has a creative hobby and wants to turn it into a business. I hope this video, but a lot of my other videos can be helpful to you in your business journey. And as always, ask any questions you want in the comments below at the end of this video. And yeah, let me know what other videos you'd like to see too. So let's get started. So this is my little fancy sales book, okay? I have a square machine that I use for markets for FPOS, but I don't have all my product in the square. I have a lot of SKUs, so a lot of different products, and I've just always thought, oh, it's just going to be too difficult. I could definitely simplify it by just doing like stickers, which I think I might do that this year. I might just do stickers, single stickers, bundle stickers, greeting cards, bundle greeting cards, ceramics, and then that will make it easier to look back on at the end of the year and see what products sold. But also with cash sales, I don't put them through my square. I just write them down as well. So what I did this week, while I spent the week mostly in bed, I actually photographed every single page of my sales from last year and uploaded it to ChatGPT. Now, although I've realized that ChatGPT is far from perfect and makes lots of assumptions and just makes up stuff if it doesn't know the answer. It sometimes just makes up stuff, which I was getting really frustrated. I spent hours and hours and hours, but overall, it actually did a really good job. And also didn't remember. Oh my gosh, I'm so annoyed. I had this massive chat thread. I probably should have broken it up into separate. I can scroll back and find the information myself, and I did do a lot of screenshots, but it doesn't remember a lot from, like, if it's a big thread from days ago, it doesn't remember all the data, especially if it's maths related. My daughter, I was getting it so annoyed. I was like yelling at it. And my daughter was like, you got to remember it's a learning model, not a, a language model. It's not good at maths. And she hates chat. She hates that I even use it. So I'm like, okay, well that makes sense because it was coming up with random figures, but I digress. Overall, it did a good job in the moment. I photographed every single page. It gave me a breakdown and it was pretty accurate, and it would ask me questions if it didn't have the correct information. So it actually, it did a pretty good overall job. It may not be exactly perfect to the cent, but it did a pretty good job. So let's get started. I'm just going to recalculate just the totals for each month though, because I can't be bothered scrolling back through. And I'm going to tell you after we've done each month, my top 3 product categories and that performed the best at markets, and my lowest 3 categories that performed the worst at markets. That was really insightful, especially for Woodford at the very end of the year. Really insightful. So let's get started. The first market of the year for 2025 for me was Lost Woods, and that was a January, I believe. Yeah, it was a twilight. So twilight markets for me, which basically twilight means they're at evening, they usually run from about 3 till 8 p.m. instead of 9 till 2. And originally, before I started doing twilight markets, I thought, oh, they're going to go great. People are going to have a few drinks and go spend their money. No. For my stuff anyway, that's not how I've found it to be at any twilight market I've done, and I've done quite a few now. They're spending their money on food and alcohol. They're not spending their money on cute little things. So I've never done well at a twilight market. If I was to do one now, I'm going into it knowing that it's more for brand building, making connections, chatting to people, and I'm usually only sell in the 200s at a twilight. So I hope you've had a different experience, but just be warned, if you haven't done markets and you're looking at doing them, that is what I've found. And quite a few of my friends who do twilights say the same thing. So on the 11th of January, I did that one. It cost me $105 and I made $258. So I'm just going to write all this down as we go. Then, is that the only one I did? No. On the 18th of January, I did Emu Plains, which was also a twilight. And again, I did terribly. So I only sold 165. And I think that one cost 125. Oh no, it was probably 110 because I did the whole season. So that was January. So total sales for January were 425 with the cost of the markets 215. So that leaves a profit of 208, not including cost of goods, time, etc. February, Zine Fest, which was a very specific niche event. It didn't cost anything. It was free to attend. I did for a minute consider doing it again this year, but I decided it wasn't worth it for me to do. It's in Kensington, which is on the other side of the city, so it took quite a long time to get there. I sold $176. Now, with the Zine Fest, you had to have, I think it was like 80% of your table had to be zines. So I made stuff specifically for this event. I love zines. If you don't know what zines are, they're basically like little magazines. Where are mine? I couldn't tell you in this mess at the moment. I couldn't tell you. Oh, hang on. Maybe I do. So this is an example of a zine. I made this zine specifically for this festival. It's just like, this one's just art. Quite cute, if I do say so myself. But yeah, it's basically just art. Some people do zines like poetry. They'll do poems. Some people make little short stories. I love zines. I love collecting them as well. I also took my little colouring in books, and I also had a little tub of stickers. You weren't allowed to have heaps of stickers. It had to be a really small amount. So I just had different stickers in one little tub. Stickers, and I also took some little pottery, and they actually I sold a couple of little pottery things, which bumped the sales up. But yeah, they did. It was really nice to sell some zines because I've never sold a zine before and I've always wanted to. So I took the floral folklore that I designed for that. I took one that I actually made in TAFE when I was doing art at TAFE, and I loved that. I took that one. I just photocopied it a few times, and then I took my colouring in book and I took my stickers and a few little pottery pieces. So for that day, I sold 176. So it was really hot though. It was, yeah. But it cost nothing. So it was nice to do. I met some great people. Someone who I was next to asked if I was doing it again this year, and I really wanted to just hang out with her because she was awesome, but I didn't. Then I did, on the 23rd of February, I did Inspired Soul Events, which was someone I know through markets. Her and two other people got together and created this little market, which was more designed for sort of spirituality. There's a lot of psychic readers, kinesiologists, massage. It was more of a like wellness spiritual thing. When I did it in 2024, I was inside and I did okay. I sold I think it was nearly 300. This one I was out the back, outside in a marquee. And I don't know if it was just the day or because people weren't really coming out. The back part of it didn't have as much atmosphere as inside. So I did terribly. I did $67 and it cost me $75 to do. So we lost money. And then that is it for February. Now we are at March. So the first event of March was McClelland Makers Market. And I actually did 3 events in March. So First one was McClellan Makers Market at McClellan Sculpture Park and Gallery. I sold $410 at that one, and it cost me, I think it's like 90. I'm pretty sure it's 90 or 95. Let's do 90 for that one because I'm pretty sure it was. Then on the following weekend, I did Emu Plains Market, back to the normal morning market, so 9 till 2. I only sold 272. February is a really slow, like the first few months of the year, January, February, March, I find, or actually the first half of the year with markets can be quite slow. Leading up to Mother's Day, there's a little bit of a hike, but I found that, yeah, the first half's never my good half. That one cost me 110. So I'll add up these at the end of the month. And then I did Supernova at the end of the month, and that was a 2-day pop culture festival at the Melbourne Showgrounds. If you don't know what it is, it's people get dressed up in their favorite cosplay outfits. So if they're into like, oh, it's so cool. I actually love it. I remember I took my girls for the first time years ago because they wanted to go, and I loved it so much. I was like, I want to have a stall here. So I just love being part of that event, but being able to be behind a stall so you're not out in the crowds because it's super busy, like packed, and you see all kinds of costumes. It's so cool. You see like a lot of Marvel, a lot of Star Wars, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Avengers, all that sort of stuff, like a lot of anime characters. It's just really cool. If you have neurodiverse children, they will find their people there. It's like the most accepting environment I've ever been in. It's just, there's no judgment of how people are dressed, how people are acting, because a lot of people with neurodiversity have a lot of anxieties around things, a lot of social anxiety, but everyone's just so excited to be there and so inspired by, like, the Artisans Alley, which I was in. Just hundreds of artists and makers creating a lot of fan art, a lot of just cute stuff. And then there's the exhibitor hall, which has more bigger brands in it. Yeah, it's just really cool. Like, people are dressed up as furries, and I'm like, I don't know if they're cosplay or if that's just how they like to dress. And it's just like the one place you can just dress however you want, and you're not going to be judged by people. In fact, people are just inspired by people's outfits. Everyday people will get asked to have their photo taken. One of my girls got asked to have her photo taken twice. She was dressed up as, was that when she went as the Journey character? A video game Journey. She made this beautiful red cape. So it's just like, I love it. I love Supernova. I've actually cancelled out of Melbourne this year because I had an exhibitor booking instead of a Artisans Alley. Anyway, we'll get to that later. So Supernova, I didn't sell anywhere near as much as I thought I was going to. I thought my stickers would crush at this event because the community, pop culture community, love cutesy, arty things, but I don't do fan art. When I did this event quite a few years ago, I had a lot of art prints like Doctor Who, Alice in Wonderland. Did I have any Star Wars? I don't think. I had some Adventure Time quotes. So they sold all right because it was referencing like movies and stuff, whereas a lot of my stuff now, I don't have that. It's more just my original art. I did take my dog mugs that I was selling for a while, the ceramic dog mugs and money boxes. They kind of propped the sales up a bit. So I was like, if I do it again, do I just bring a heap of those? But I have to buy them wholesale, so I'm only making like a 50% margin markup. And then I've got to buy the stock. I can't just make it. So all up for that event, it was 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, I sold 546. I really thought I'd get to 1,000. I was shocked, actually. Still had a great time, but yeah, the sales were not what I thought they were going to be. So for that event, 546, and because I didn't get the early bird price, I didn't book in early. I think it cost me like $450. I think, was it? Yeah, I think it costs like, I'm just going to say 420. I feel like it might be around 420. Whereas if you got in early bird was like 291 or something. So I didn't really make a profit, but I got the free tickets. So 2 of my girls got in for free. Oh, actually, I think I got 4 tickets. So my other daughter came with her boyfriend. She got in free, and then I was able to buy him a ticket at a discounted price. So if you're going anyway, I guess profit is less important because it kind of covered itself. But yeah, not profitable. I really wanted to do Artisans Alley in Melbourne again this year and have a more curated collection of products, but I didn't get in because they've changed the way they do it. So if you've done the 2 events in the past 2 years, you got first access for 2 weeks. And then I'd only done 1 event in the last 2 years, so I had to wait. And by the time I got into the portal, Melbourne Artisan Alley was full already. So I decided to book an exhibitor space, which is 3 by 3 meters instead of just a trestle table, but it's $1,500. And I had to pay it by end of November, which I could not do. I was still trying to get the funds together for Woodford. So I cancelled my exhibitor stand in Melbourne. I'm still booked in for Sydney, which is in June. I just have to see if I've got that money together. And why I'm doing the exhibitor, my products showed that they don't do great there, but 2 of my daughters all of my daughters are actually really creative and artistic. 2 of them want to do some fan art. So I was like, right, we'll book the exhibitor stand and I can bring more just products that I've bought in. Now the direction I'm going in, I think my like journal kits and stuff could potentially be really good. But I said, you guys do a heap of your fan art and we'll sell that, whether it's art prints, keychains, whatever. So it's more of a test for them to see if their products go well, because I'll happily continue to do Supernova, and either just as an Artisan Alley table or as an exhibitor stand if my girls' stuff sells well enough. And I'm happy to be the main person to manage the stall as they want to wander off and go and have a look at stuff. But I just think it's a really cool experience to go. And if we can make it so it's at least a little bit profitable, or at least cover all the costs, then it's worth doing. So we're still booked in for Sydney. I'm just going to see in the next couple of months how much money I've got. If I don't have anywhere near enough, I might just see if I can change to a Artisan Alley table. Or I might see if I can go back to Melbourne, because Melbourne apparently has heaps of really cool people coming. So they have a lot of the celebrities within the pop culture genre come to these events, and people come to get photo shoots with photos and stuff with them. So I'm not sure. I'm booked in for Sydney. I haven't paid for it yet. I'm just going to see what happens in the next couple of months. I think I have to pay it by the end of Feb. So I'm just going to maybe reassess and see if there's a chance that I can swap Sydney back for Melbourne. I'll do that instead. Otherwise, yeah, we'll see. If worst case scenario, I cancel it. But I really do want to test out a Supernova so my girls can do their fan art and we can just see how it goes. Okay, so that's March. So between those 3 events for March, total sales came to 1,228. Total cost to attend the events for stall fees only, 620. So that leaves us in the green of 608. Again, we're not including cost of goods, time, etc. Okay? Now, next. Yeah, my ideas for Supernova are actually just, if I was going to do it again, is do more dog and cat stuff. People really loved the dog and cat stuff. Okay, we're into April now. Off-Grid Living Festival. If you watch that, you know. Oh, it wasn't great. That was my worst event of the year, the Off-Grid Living Festival. It was beautiful, beautiful people. I met lots of beautiful people. I had a double stall. I had one side set up with workshops. I was doing free colouring in. I stayed at my cousin's house. At least I didn't have to have accommodation fees. It was great to catch up with her and her kids. Really nice, actually. And she's an amazing cook, so I had a delicious dinner. So it was great for that as well. Only problem is with the Off-Grid Living Festival, it cost me $550 to do. On the Saturday, I sold $144. On the Sunday, I sold 89. So I was down bad, in the red bad. So I lost $317 on that event. I don't even know. Like, it was just weird. It was supposed to be handmade only. The stall that I paid for, there were people selling lots of non-handmade stuff. So the people who do food there crushed. I was speaking to the honey guy. I think he said he'd like sold like 10 grand's worth or something. The nut people crushed it. So people are there for more like, I don't know, food. I don't know. Oh, the guy next to me who was making gongs, selling them for like, I think they started at 3 grand. He crushed it. Like people were buying gongs. So they just went buying my stuff. I didn't take my dog and cat mugs. I wish I had, even though it said handmade only. I feel like my dog mugs would have done really well there because it was rural. Anything rural. If I had have had like Kelpies, Border Collie stickers, they probably would have done well. And I did think, would I do it again and just add more of that stuff in? But no, I'm not changing my whole brand direction to fit into a market. Also, the compost toilets, disgusting. It was so hot. I thought after the Saturday they would replace, like, swap out the compost toilet bin things that sit. So you walk up, you go into the toilet, and underneath is like, it was so hot that weekend. By the Sunday lunchtime, you could feel the moisture. Like, you sit down on the toilet, you could feel, you know, it was gross. You could feel the heat coming from other people's poop that was down below, and it was like making my bum wet from the moisture, and there were it was disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting. So that was my worst event of the year. And they've actually, I think they had a really bad turnout overall because they said that they had so many thousand people attend this event. There's absolutely no way in hell that that amount of people or anywhere near that amount of people came to that event. And it was really spread out. Apparently, a lot of people saying it was much better when it was more condensed in just like a circle. It was really spread out, and there wasn't the people. They just didn't come. The people that were there did buy stuff off me, but there just weren't enough people there. I sold a mix of stickers, fairy houses. I did used to sell the vintage vases, which, yeah, I decided not to do them anymore, but I don't know. I don't think I'll bring them back, but I don't think I will. It's too distracting because then I have to go up shopping. Anyway, on the 19th of the 4th, which was Easter weekend, I went up to Quambatook and did the tractor pull. So I did a tractor pull for the first time ever, and I designed my tractor stickers. Where are they? Where are they? Where's the pink tractor sticker? Not in there. There's the green one, right? I designed that sticker for this event. I've got to find the pink one. Okay, there's the pink sticker, the pink tractor sticker. So I designed these 2 stickers for this event because I thought they're going to crush. It's a tractor pull. The tractor stickers are going to crush. They did not crush. I think I sold like maybe 5 of each, if that. Did I sell 5 of each? Okay, so this cost me $20, right? It's in a tiny country town. One of my best friends lives in this country town. We went to high school together, known each other for over 30 years. I love going to Quambatook. It's so quiet and peaceful. There's literally 200 people that live in the town. I love this place so, so much. So it didn't matter. I was like, I'm going. I don't even care how much I sell at this event. It cost me $20 to attend. It was such an adventure. I had no idea what a tractor pull was. I thought it was like normal tractors racing each other down the paddock. It's not. It's like beefed up monster truck tractors, and they get progressively more beefed up as the night goes on. And they have to pull this giant weight, and whoever like makes it wins because a lot of the engines like blow up. And I thought it might have been like more cowboy sort of vibe. It wasn't. It was like country bogan, which was really fun to look at. But here's my little cute pink florally stall in amongst all of these other like just not pink stalls. Like the one next to me, she sold Mack truck stickers, which were like super not sexist, but just like old school jokes. And it was just like, she crushed it. She's done this before. But a lot of the wives who weren't necessarily as into the tractor pull as the husbands were, loved my stall. So I actually ended up selling $295, which I think was pretty good for a bit of a risky event. Way better than the Off-Grid Living Festival. So I sold quite a few. I used to sell last year Billy Button bunches of Billy Button flowers. So I had a basket full of dried and preserved flowers that I was selling. I think I was selling them for $15 each. I sold like 5 or 6 bunches, and I only had a few dog mugs left. I sold oh no, I only sold 2. I thought I sold more than that. I can tell you exactly what I sold. I sold a dog mug, a Cavalier King Charles, a dog mug, a Burmese, mountain dog, sticker, horse, bookmark, custom mug. Someone ordered a custom mug, which I don't normally do, and it took me months to actually do it. I'll never do it again. I'm no good with custom orders. Pot, stickers, bookmark, Dash Hound money box, Billy Buttons, 2 mini fairy houses, Billy Buttons ×2, fairy house mini, 3 stickers, bookmark and sticker, 3 stickers, and a bookmark. So yeah, a bit of a mix. Yeah, it was really fun to do. I'm still I might do it this year. I'm not sure yet. It'd be good just to go and see my friend. I love hanging out with her. I don't know if I'll do it. It's so cheap to do and it's cool, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't decided, but it's in April, which is coming up, so I need to hurry up and decide. So I sold, $295, which basically covered my trip up there, the petrol and stuff. Okay. What was next for April? That's it. So just the tractor pull and the Off-Grid Living Festival for April. So total sales for April were $528, and expenses, the cost of stalls, were $570. So I was down $42. It's hilarious to me that the $20 tractor pull made more than the $550 Off-Grid Living Festival. So that was a very learning experience filled month. Now, let's get into May. May is where a lot of you guys found my channel because I did the vlog of my bowerbird trip. So when I drove up to Adelaide for the bowerbird market, that video on YouTube went really well, and that's how a lot of you came across my channel. So I'm grateful for that market for that reason, although I did not sell anywhere near again as much as I would have liked to have sold. It's sometimes worth it for other reasons, you know. So let's get into the sales figures. So this event cost me $1,000 to do. That's just the stall fee. That's not including petrol, food, accommodation. We're just doing the stall fee in this breakdown, okay? Okay. So it's a 3-day event. Starts Friday night. The Saturday was voting day for Australia. I didn't think it would have a big impact. It did have a big impact. However, saying that, some people did really well. A lot of people didn't do really well. My next door neighbor, shout out to Koki from Bumblebee Parade. No. Beekeeper Parade. He does upcycled backpacks and bags that's made from pre-loved materials. He also does embroidery on hats and the bags. He did really well. He sold over 5K. So people were spending money, and some of his backpacks were like $200. So people were spending money. He has an amazing story. He came over as a refugee on a boat. His story is very compelling, and he tells everyone his story, whether they're going to buy something or not. He tells them the story, which you can instantly see people have just have a connection with him from that story. It's so funny how if people feel connected to your brand, they're so much more likely to buy. And I was like, you're just an incredible salesperson, because he's not trying to sell. Well, he is. He's telling his story first, and then he's telling people why he started sewing, which is a really beautiful story as well. He lost his sister to cancer, and he decided to create this brand. And the product is so sustainable, and it's just made with so much love, and it's very the brand itself is very inclusive. So, he's got all the right things. And the fact that he tells everybody that's the key. We were joking. I'm like, should I just start telling people that I started going hard with my ceramics after my brother committed suicide? Because it's literally what kept me being able to stay out of my head and not overthink everything, and just be mindful and practice like playing with clay, because it kind of was, and we were laughing about that because it kind of is, but you kind of like it, you do to be a really good salesperson, it is kind of important to share your story and your whys that you do things. But yeah, I'm not there yet. I've got lots to learn from Koki. He's amazing. Anyway, so on the first night, the Friday, super slow. But I sold $450. Also, my stall setup was shit at this market. It was cute. It was a little table. I didn't realize I had a full 3x3 with white backing and walls and a side wall. I could have made my stall setup so much better, and had way more stock. Like if I'd had the biggest stuff was selling at this market. If I'd had some beautiful linen prints or original artworks or bigger ceramic pieces, it could have been a completely different market for me. So it's not just the market's fault. It's definitely, there's a lot of things I could have done to improve that market. So Friday night I sold $450. Saturday I sold $639, and Sunday I sold heaps more product on the Sunday, but it was a lot of stickers. So I sold $583, but more actual individual sales. So all up that comes to, and it cost me $1,000 to do. So all up for Bowerbird, I sold $1,672, and it cost me $1,000. So minus the stall fee, I'm up $672. Obviously, all that was absolutely absorbed with cost of petrol to get there and home, cost of accommodation for, I think we stayed Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and then we sort of started driving Sunday night, but still had to stay at a motel because I couldn't drive the whole way. So 4 nights of accommodation. So definitely in the red there. But it was, yeah, my video on YouTube's made, I think, about $250 now so far, and from just Google ads, and it's basically the video that was able to get my stats up high enough that I was able to be monetized on YouTube, because I didn't have enough watch hours before that. So it was an incredible video, and it helped me along on my YouTube journey. So yeah, I'm actually, I tell you what, they sent the email out the other day for May applications. It would be really interesting, wouldn't it, to be able to do a comparison video from last year where I was not prepared. I didn't take the right product mix. My stall setup was shit, compared to this year with a much better stall setup, a much better idea of what would sell, not an election weekend. I'm actually really tempted just to do it and see what happens, but I don't want to do events that drain me, that I don't make enough money from. What should I do? Should I do it? Oh my God. I'm really thinking about it, but I don't have the money now to do it. I'm going to think about that. I'm going to say that's a maybe. Probably not. It's a probably not, but you never know. Tell me if you think I should do it in the comments, please. My excited brain's taking over my practical brain again, guys. Maybe I should wait till next year and do it then, when I've actually hopefully got more like money in the bank that I don't have to like gamble my weekly income on, you know? Okay, so that was the first event in May. Then I did, on the 10th of May, I did this little cafe / distillery in Rye on the Mornington Peninsula. It's Penny Ave. It's a really cool little funky place. They didn't charge us anything. I don't think they charged us, or was it $20? I feel like it was free. It was pretty quiet. I only sold $114. It was free though. I had great chats to other people who had stalls there. There were only like 5 or 6 of us. Yeah, I only sold a set of 3 stickers, mini fairy house ×2, mini fairy, mini mushroom, small whale, a card, 3 stickers again, card and a mini fairy house and a whale. So I didn't sell much. they were the only 2 events I did for May. So let's total that up. Okay, so total income from markets in May was $1,786. Expenses for stall fee only was $1,000. So that leaves us with $786, which absolutely got destroyed in travel, accommodation, and food for the Bowerbird market. Okay, we're moving on to June now. So we're nearly at the halfway of the year point. I did the Lost Woods market in June. Now, because they've got a massive long waiting list, so I wasn't able to get into any other months for this event. I got into January just because January markets are generally pretty quiet, and a lot of people who do markets don't do January, especially twilight markets, for the reason I said earlier. A friend of mine, shout out Miranda from Studio 87, I don't normally do winter markets because I don't like the shit weather. She's like, just apply for Lost Woods in the winter block, because they work in blocks of 3. So they've got the summer block, the autumn block, the spring block, the winter block. She's like, you'll get in for a start because not as many people want to do winter markets for obvious reasons. And if you get your foot in the door properly, then maybe you've got a better chance of doing like the spring, summer ones. So I was like, and she's like, you know what, just downsize your stall setup. You don't have to bring everything. Just bring one table. Make sure you're wearing thermal socks, thermal underwear and stuff. Good rain jacket. I'm like, okay, you've sold me. That was one of the better markets I had for the year. I only ended up selling, like I sold $409, but for a winter market, I did not think I was going to get to that. I was sort of, maybe I'd sell 200. I was doing it just to get my foot in the door. It was busy. It was actually a really nice sunny day. Oh no, I actually sold more than that. I sold some stuff right at the end as I was packing up. I sold a linen print for $90 and some flowers. So I ended up selling $584. Again, that was one of my better markets for the year. Actually, that might be my best market for a one-day event. Let's write that down. 584 Lost Woods, June. Let's see when we get to the end of the year. So $584 in sales. It cost me $105. It was a nice day. It was a really nice day. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. So next, and the other markets in June were very experimental. So because I was like, that was a great market, I'm going to try some other winter markets now. I tried the St Andrews market, which is up. Is it up north, Melbourne, or out? I can't remember. It's whoop whoop from where I live. So I stayed at my mum's for the weekend. She looked after the dog. She's in Endeavour Hills. So the St Andrews market is such a funny one. It's very hippie vibes. I loved it. You can sell handmade new. I think you can sell just like new stuff, like imported stuff, which you don't want too much of that at a market if you sell handmade, because it just not only kills the vibe, but people tend to go and spend more on the cheap, crappy stuff than your beautiful handmade stuff. You can also sell pre-loved stuff there. So I actually took a mix of pre-loved, like my little vintage vases that I decided I was getting rid of, and my handmade stuff. And what was good about this market, you don't book. You rock up in the morning, you wait. I think you get there at like 7 o'clock. And I think you have to wait until 8, and then you're allocated a stall spot. I think it would be crazy busy in summer and lead up to Christmas. I haven't done it again, but it was pretty cool. It was pretty like chill vibes. You get more than a 3x3 space. You can kind of spread out a little bit. They're kind of like, yeah, we'll put you over here. Yeah, I didn't sell that much. I sold $126 all up. But the stall cost $25. So, and I got rid of some secondhand stuff. So not great, but it was an experimental year. Remember, we were just trying different things. The vlog did really well on YouTube. Then on the Sunday, I basically took the same stuff to Camberwell Market, which is, if you don't know what Camberwell Market is, it's basically the most popular flea market, secondhand market in Victoria, I would say. I think that's fair to say. It's on every single Sunday of the year. To book a stall for this event, you got to book months in advance. You got to rock up there super early. You can rock up on the morning, and if there's any leftover stalls, you may get one. But the queue is crazy, and trying to get your car in at that late point once all the other stall holders are there would be an actual nightmare. I don't think I would cope mentally trying to fit my car in once when they allocate the leftover spaces. I was lucky. A friend of mine who does it every week, she's got a permanent spot. She messaged me the week of saying, quickly get on the app, there's spots come available, because apparently sometimes if people who are regular can't do it, the market will open up their spaces during the week before that market, but it's really, people are on it really quick, so they very rarely come up. So really the best way to do it is to book months in advance, but then you don't know what the weather's going to be like. So this was ideal for me because I knew my spot. It cost $70. I think I booked it the Tuesday or Wednesday. I got there really early. I think I got there at like 5:30 a.m. or something. And that went really well. It was a good day weather-wise. It wasn't windy. It was pretty sunny most of the day. It was a little bit overcast, but it was just a good market day. And in the middle of winter, I got really lucky. I honestly sold about half new and half pre-loved and vintage. I probably sold more pre-loved and vintage, but the values were more half. And people were really happy to see my stuff. And I got several new followers for my YouTube channel. And I've had people that wonderful lady who bought me that snack bag of goodies at the Hampton East Market, she met me at Camberwell Market. So I'm so glad I did that market, and I do want to throw a few Camberwells in this year if I can. I've just got to decide which ones and actually pre-book them. So total sales for Camberwell Market were $470, and the store cost me $70, and I also paid $15 to hire a clothing rack because I had quite a few of my own clothes I was getting rid of, and my mum had a heap of clothes. So all up the store fee, including the clothing rack, was $85. And then another one I did in June, which I'm actually having another go at next weekend, is the Toogarook Market. Now, the Toogarook Market is down on the Mornington Peninsula. It's usually the last Saturday of every month. It's really cheap to do. It costs $30. I did this. I didn't sell heaps. I sold 159. It was pretty quiet. It was the middle of winter. I'm very excited to do it next weekend, which is our peak tourist season, and to see the difference, see if it's super duper busy. Hopefully the weather's nice. It's going to be interesting to see the difference between Toogarook Market peak winter compared to peak summer. So I'm very excited to share how that one goes. But yeah, for that one I sold $159. It cost me $30. It's 10 minutes down the road. It's probably the easiest market I can do, to be completely honest. And then I had another market. June was like market month. I did a Kuna Park Market in Berwick. I was hoping this one would go really well because if you can actually, like, it's an outdoor market, but they have the big sheds, and you can become a permanent stall holder in the sheds, and you can leave your stuff there and just cover it up with a tarp and then just come and uncover it each Saturday. So I was like, that would be so cool if I did really well here and I could just have that as a permanent stall. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. I did not sell much at all. Look at that. That's like half a page. Weather was pretty shit. It was pretty rainy and drizzly most of the day. I sold $164 all up. I did sell some ceramics though. The ceramics did okay there, which propped it up at the last minute. It cost $50 to do. So not a great return on investment, and Berwick's like an hour away for me. But it was good to do, see how it was. Don't think it's the market for me. Okay, so 5 events total in June, and we had a total sales of $1,503 minus the stall fee costs of $295. So that leaves us, after the stall fee comes out, $1,208. That's the best month so far. And they were all not hard to get to. I stayed at my mum's for Camberwell and St Andrews, so it was not too bad. It was still a bit of a drive, but not too bad. It's interesting also, I have to add, I usually really struggle in winter. I'm sure I have that SAD disorder, where just like lack of sunshine and it's so cold. I just don't deal well. But because I was out there every weekend doing markets, I was really well rugged up. And we had actually some pretty nice sunny days for June. I just got through that month so much better than I normally do because I had something to focus on and work towards, and I just wasn't sitting around feeling sorry for myself because winter's shit and I hate it. So interesting little side positive there. Okay, let's get to July. Now, first one I did in July was the Rosebud Lions market on the foreshore. That is traditionally a flea market, secondhand market. So I only took secondhand stuff to this one. It was having a little bit of a house clean out and getting rid of whatever was left, hopefully, from the Camberwell and St Andrews. I didn't take any handmade stuff at all. I just took that. It would be interesting to see if my handmade stuff would go, if it would be more like Camberwell where it was a bit of a mix. Anyway, it wasn't a great day. It was pretty quiet. There were gaps all over. Like they gave you an allocated stall, but there were like gaps everywhere, and it just would have looked so much better from the street because it's on the main street of Rosebud. If they just condensed it right down and put us all together, so if people are driving past, they'd be like, oh, it's a market, because it would have looked busier as more condensed than just spread out randomly throughout the whole oval. Anyway, I sold $184. The stall cost $30. It was fine. It's when I used to do this, it used to be on the bigger oval in Rosebud years ago. It was run by the other Lions Club, and I loved it then. It was a vibe. Every month was busy, heaps of stalls, heaps of people would go to it. It's lost its thing. Would I do it again? Maybe. I might do it in like more of a busy season, like January would go off. Like to do it the first Sunday in January would be crazy good. If I was actually not at Woodford, I probably would have done it because I ended up having a garage sale anyway. I would have much preferred to do that. So yeah, I guess if it was, I reckon it'd be worthwhile doing maybe November, December, January, any other months. But I got rid of heaps of stuff. So it's fine. And then I just donated the rest. You know, if you're decluttering, if you put stuff away that you've decided you're selling, the good thing about it is even if you don't sell it, you've emotionally detached from it. So it's easier just to let it go then. So you can just donate it or sell stuff on Marketplace or whatever. Anyway, that was just a little one, whatever. Okay, so we've got 184 and the store costs $30. Finders keepers, the big one. July, the big one that I thought was going to be big profit, but wasn't. And you saw how much work I put into that market. I've got a lot to say about Finders Keepers, so let's get into it. The Friday, so this event cost me $1,750 to do. So $1,750 before we even get started. It's at the Royal Exhibition Building. It used to be my favourite market in the whole world. I used to go as a shopper. I'd wanted to get into it for years. I've done it a few times with my wheat bags. Never really did well. Did it in October 24 when I just sort of started taking the ceramic side of my business seriously, and did really well. Almost sold out of the ceramics on the Saturday morning. So I think I sold all up in that October one, just over $3,000. I reckon I would have doubled it if I had not have run out of my ceramics, because all I sold on the Sunday basically was stickers. I sold like $1,000 worth of stickers. So I was hopeful, even though July Finders Keepers traditionally not as good as the October. But now we have the big design market that's in May at the same location. And we also have Makers and Shakers market, which is in April at the same location. So for years and years and years, Finders Keepers used to be the first big design event of the year at the exhibition building, Royal Exhibition Building. Now it's the third, and they upped their prices. So they've upped their prices from, I think it was, $6 to get in to now $12. So a friend of mine came with his partner and 2 teenagers, cost them nearly $50 to get in before they'd even bought anything. And it's a market, it's not a festival. There's a DJ playing, but not that you'd go and pay just for that. It's just, I think it's ridiculous. And I'm actually in a group who sort of submitted. I did not do October. I got waitlisted, and I was glad because I heard it was really quiet and people were down on their sales dramatically for a normal October market. Finders Keepers has been bought out by a company who have markets in New South Wales, and they've just made a lot of changes that aren't really conducive to making the market as good as it used to be or as good as it could be. And it's, like I said, got the competition of having Makers and Shakers in April, Big Design Market in May, and then that's in July. A lot of people that go to these events don't understand that they're different markets because a lot of the same stalls go. So a lot of the big like ceramics and illustrators and artists and stuff, it's the same kind of stalls at each event. So if you don't know what markets are what, you're just going to assume that it's the same event. So why would you, if you've already been to April or May, why would you go to July as well? Especially when it costs you $12 to get in the door. It's crazy. For that reason, I haven't even applied for this year. I'm not doing Finders Keepers unless they reduce their entry fee to under $8. I will probably never apply for Finders Keepers again because I just think it's a rort. They're taking money off the shoppers who we want to spend with us, as well as charging us crazy amounts, which, fine, charge us the high amount, but just add an extra $50 to each stall holder or something. But they want to make more money. They don't care. Like, they don't care about people. They want to make their money. Yeah. Because they've taken a whole group of people who have done these markets for years. We did like this, not a petition. Is it a petition? Kind of is actually. And sent it to them and said, hey, this is problematic. This market used to be great. It's going downhill fast. We think the new entry fee has a lot to do with that. Are you going to look at reducing it? Or what are you going to do to expand on marketing and stuff? They just gave one of those like, oh, thanks for your input and your feedback. We'll look into it properly and get back to you. Haven't heard back. That was before Christmas. So I'm done with Finders Keepers. I got waitlisted for Makers and Shakers in April, which is depressing because I think my stuff would go really well there. Really well. And it's good because it's only the 2 days. It's the Saturday and Sunday, not the Friday. And it's $1,000 to do from memory. And it's Australian made only. So obviously I wouldn't take my stuff that I get made offshore, like my enamel mugs, obviously. But I just can't crack that market. And it's really annoying me. I'm actually annoyed about it. And I'm actually thinking I'm going to apply one more time this year for that. And if I don't get in, that's it. I'm not applying anymore. And then in a couple of years when I'm like super famous and successful, they're going to be coming to me going, hey, come and do our market. And I'll be like, maybe. So I'm being petty, but it's because I'm getting annoyed. And also I got waitlisted again for Big Design Melbourne. I get waitlisted every time for that. I'm going to apply for Sydney, which is in September. I've got it in my diary for the year, but who knows if I'll get in. I'm actually thinking, you know how before the end of the year, for Woodford, I was going to make those, where are they? I don't know where they are. They're on this table somewhere. It's such a mess. I still haven't properly sorted my studio out at all. Little mini artworks that feature like little cute vintage animals. Like, I can't find my little frame. So I'm going to make artworks, like original artworks that are like a shadow box. And I'm going to put all my cute little vintage collectibles in there and do like artwork and illustrations and maybe some little mushroom ceramics. And what I'm thinking, if I can get at least, say, maybe 5 or 10 of those done before the Big Design Sydney applications come out soon in February, literally a few weeks away, I'm thinking that might be a good point of difference for me. So I'm going to just do the application based on that product and say I'm going to launch my collection of vintage, kitsch, original artwork at your event. So I'm going to go that angle and see if we can get in. I was also going to apply to the big design market, Little Food Market, which is, I think it's in June or July at the exhibition building. It's food. It's more of a foodie event. However, they do have a few handmade and like designer stalls to complement all the food stalls. And I was thinking about doing, because a lot of people buy my little small vases as shot glasses. So I was like, oh, I should do like sake sets. So do like 4 shot glasses and a little jug and apply to that event just to get my foot in the door for the big design events, you know. But I haven't really done that, so I better check when the application's open. And I don't know if I can be bothered. I feel like it could be good, but I don't know if I can be bothered. Again, that's like making my brand go in a direction to suit an event instead of finding events that suit my brand. But it is still ceramics. It is still basically what I'm doing now. It's just a small diversion. And that could be a really cute gift set, ceramic gift set product to sell this year as like a higher priced, because you would sell it for like, I don't know, $100 or something, like a little sake set. That would be kind of cute, you know? So I might do that. I'm still deciding. Anyway, where were we? I'm getting off track. Sorry. Okay, Finders Keepers. That's right. This is the sales for Finders Keepers. Friday, I sold $570. So it starts at 4 and finishes at 9 p.m. The Saturday, where my dreams went to die, I sold 1,100. I had a goal to sell $3,000 on the Saturday. The Sunday, I sold 796. I mean, if you sit hearing those numbers, you're probably thinking, that's a good amount of product to sell. What are you talking about? Oh no, hang on, I got to 932 for Sunday. Like, you're probably like, that's good. That's a lot of sales. Total sales were $2,602. But it cost me $1,750. And if you've seen the prep vlog for my Finders Keepers prep, I easily think I would probably have spent at least 100 hours, probably 200 hours prepping for that event. Okay. So think about that on an hourly rate, even $20 an hour, like, and the cost of the stall and to be there for 3 days, it's a lot. Okay. So really, for an event that's costing me $1,750 and it's a 3-day event and it requires a lot of prep, I need to kind of be making at least $5,000 to make it viable. Yeah. So to only have made 2,600 was really sad for me. And I was questioning my life choices during that event, especially on the Sunday. Some people did well. It's not, you know, and that's where you're like, is it me? Is there something wrong with my products? I don't know. I don't know if it's something wrong with my products for that market. I don't think it is. My neighbor who was selling skincare, natural organic skincare, she crushed it. But she's been doing it for years. People know her. She has a lot of reorders. I met some of you guys. I met some YouTube subscribers. It was a great time for vibes, but my vibes were low by the Sunday, let me tell you. Just because I'd put so much work into it. But again, that's another thing too. This year, instead of like madly, chaotically prepping to have stock for an event, I'm so much more organized as far as knowing my whole 12-month calendar of events, what events I'm doing, what products I need to have for those events to be prepared. So I'm not doing this frantic last-minute rush to get as much stuff done as I can, which makes me exhausted before I even get to the event. I want to have stock on shelves, especially of the ceramics. The cards and the stickers are already fine. I have stock on the shelf of those. They are my least stressful product. But the ceramics, because I'm making it all, and then I'm frantically trying to get stuff to the kiln and out of the kiln and glaze, is like an absolute nightmare. And it was making me start hating ceramics towards the end of the year, which is not what I want, because I make ceramics because it's very mindful. It generally relaxes me. Not when I'm going, I've got to make 50 of these small vases. So we're doing things differently this year. I've got a production schedule set up. That's the other thing I want to do while I'm in my studio today, is do a full stock count of the ceramics I've got, because I'm back in the studio properly from next Monday, which is tomorrow. And I'm going to be doing probably 3 days a week, 3 hours, 3 days a week of pottery production just to get my stock levels of each item up to a certain amount, which is good for wholesale, it's good for online orders, and it's good for events. So I can just pick and it's not stressful. And if I still obviously want to make lots of money at the bigger events, but if I don't, it's okay. Anyway, where were we? Okay, so 6,000. Oh, was that the only event? I think that was the only event. Oh, no. And the Rosebud Market. Okay. So they were my 2 events for July. So we've got 2,000, hang on, 6, 8, 7, 2. So total sales from markets in July was 2,786, less the stall fees, 1,780. So stall fees, 1,780. That leaves us, once the stall fees are taken out of the income, it leaves us with $1,006. Now over to August. We've got the Lost Woods Market on the 9th of August. Didn't do anywhere near as well in August as I had done in June. I sold 347, which was a little bit of an anticlimax after that lovely June, wasn't it? And the cost was 105. I did Young Husband Market in Kensington. This one was a massive hike. It was so far away. It was a gamble because I haven't done it before. But I did it because the building that this market is in is stunning. It's so beautiful. It's like an old bloody brick, beautiful old warehouse. And it's run by the people who run Rose Street Market. And if you know that I've been trying to get into Rose Street Market for ages. So instead of getting continuously rejected from Rose Street, I decided to apply for some other markets that they run in the hopes that the organizer will see my product and go, oh yeah, she's got really nice product. Let's let her into Rose Street. I did get into Rose Street after I did this market. Whether or not that had an impact, I don't know. They did come up and look at my stall, but not a lot. They didn't spend a lot of time. Anyway, I only sold $97 at this market, and I think it cost, did it cost 95 or 75? I can't remember. I'm going to have to look that up because I can't remember. Anyway, pretty dismal market. It was pretty quiet. Wasn't happy about that. Let me look up how much that stall fee actually is. Okay, stall fee is actually $69, so even cheaper, which is pretty good price, but yeah, wasn't worth it. I don't think I'll do that one again. If I lived close to that location, I would probably give it a few goes and just see if it was just a one-off thing or whether it's been diluted too much because it is monthly instead of like quarterly. I would be interested to do it again if I live closer, but because it's a beautiful venue as well. Oh my gosh, so pretty. But yeah, no, I live too far away. It's not worth me doing. Paperific Expo. Okay, so this is my first craft fair that I've done in probably 15 years. So years and years ago, I had an online scrapbooking store called Every Moment Matters. I did some big paper craft festivals in Brisbane, and I loved it so much. I had a proper booth and everything. Had helpers from, I had a website where I sold my products, but then I also had a forum attached to the website, and I used to run like weekly competitions. I had a design team. I had like 5 ladies who I'd send stuff out to every month. It was so beautiful. I'm still friends with some of these ladies today, and I loved it so much. But I had 3 I opened it in 2005, and then I had another baby in 2007. I used to run retreats and everything, and it was really fun, except I have no management. I would buy stock and then not even get it on my website. So I was not making money. I could have, and I was tired all the time. I had babies, and my ex-husband used to go away for work all the time because he's in the Air Force. So I was just like solo parenting babies, no family support because they were all in Victoria. I was in Queensland because he was posted to the Air Force base. So it was just really hard time. It was a hard time sales-wise. I just wasn't cut out for it. And I just kept buying stock because I loved it, because I was a crafter too, but wasn't selling enough. It wasn't properly, I had a bookkeeper, but I wasn't properly keeping on top of like income versus expenses and all that jazz. Originally, I started just selling scrapbooking supplies on eBay, and that was when, like, if you did an auction and the products would go for really high, and I was buying stuff wholesale, breaking it up into smaller packets, doing auctions and selling stuff for heaps, because scrapbooking was just getting big at that time. And I probably, hindsight, I should have just stuck with the eBay store for quite a bit longer and just done it that way. Also, the people who I got to design my website, I spent like $3,500. I could have found a much more basic website designer. There was no Shopify at that time. It was all WordPress. And gotten it done cheaper, and maybe just put some people on to help me run the forum a bit better, which I did eventually. But yeah, it was just a lot of work. I was doing like Google advertising before it was a massive thing. So I was learning a lot, but because I was so exhausted from like solo parenting a lot of the time, I just couldn't stay on top of things. Anyway, it was a great learning experience. And last year I decided I wanted to get back into craft supplies because I really missed that whole community and just the creativity, and people are so eager to learn. And I love creating products. Okay. I love creating products, especially, and back in the day, I wanted to get my own scrapbooking papers designed and into shops. I bought an A3 printer and would literally design. I didn't know how to use Photoshop or anything. I don't even know if Photoshop was around then. And I would design scrapbooking papers. I actually got them into one shop in Ipswich, Queensland, where I lived, and it was a really big scrapbooking shop. I was very proud of myself, but it cost me more than I made because I was printing them at home using heaps of ink. You couldn't get on Alibaba back in those days and just order stuff from China. You had to it was really hard to find manufacturers. So that was the other thing. I would have loved to have had my own like stamp collections. So anyway, I did start to do that last year. And Paperific Expo was my first dipping the toes back into craft supply events and craft supplies. I really pulled it together at kind of the 11th hour. I made up junk journals, which are basically junk journal kits. Okay, so the junk journal kits, I just made up these cute little packets. So it's basically got a couple of sheets of vintage paper from a book, and then I've just got some, what's that called? The Hessian stuff. And then I've got some twine. I've got some old puzzle Scrabble pieces. And I designed some of my pictures into what they call fussy cuts, which is just a sheet of paper that you cut, and you can use it on card making or scrapbooking or journaling or whatever. So some little things. I love putting stuff like that together. I was selling these for $3 each. So I put them together. I took my ceramic paint pellets. I made a heap of paint pellets for that event. Let me show you what they look like too. Okay. So my little ceramic paint pellets, we've got a few different sizes. We've got teeny tiny. That one I sell for $18. This one I sell for $23. This one I sell for $30, and this one I sell for $45. Okay, so these are ideal for people who use watercolors or inks. A lot of crafters and paper crafters use like the Tim Holtz inks, which are alcohol inks, to distress their pages or mixed media art and stuff like that. So these are great for that. I sold a few of these. My third sale of the day was 2 paint palettes that came to $90. So that was great. Did I sell any more paint palettes? Or was that it? That's it, I think. I thought I did sell. No, that looks like it. Oh my God, my door just opened. That gave me a heart attack. Really windy. Okay. I'm going to shut it. That's freaking me out. I just remembered I had some soft drink in the fridge. Okay, so I took them. What else did I take? I took my stickers. They did pretty well. I took my bookmarks. So like these guys, I've got a set of 6 of these. And these, I literally put a sign on these and called them colouring in bookmarks. And a few people bought them for that reason, which was cool. My overall plan for 2026 is to no longer take bookmarks to events, because what I sell them for is not worth, and how much of them I sell, I don't sell that many at markets, is not worth this table space they take up. It's better for me to add more ceramics or higher priced items. So anyway, but I probably will keep taking the colouring in ones that are actually just line art, but I love the idea of people colouring them in. It's almost a collaborative art piece. So I sold a few of those. I also bought a heap of old like pens, markers and sharpeners from a friend of mine who has bought a art and craft supply company, and a lot of the stock that the previous owners had, because they bought all the stock as well, they're just not going to sell. So they had a garage sale, was selling stuff super cheap. I think I spent like $100 though, and I got like heaps of sharpeners. They're literally here. Sharpeners. I was like, what's like paper craft related? Because I didn't have enough stock for my stall because I was really unorganized. I wanted to have like keychains and stickers made that had like crafter quotes, so paper crafting quotes. That was gonna be my kind of main thing, and I just didn't get there. And more fussy cuts, like more like collage packs and stuff, I just didn't get it done. So I was like, what can I take that'll sell? So I sold some coloring books, I sold a few pens, mixed media, and that was actually 3 days. So day one, this was at Mooney Valley Raceway. It cost me $250, and I just had a table. So because she had like a new makers area, it was cheaper. Normally the booths, I think they were like more like $700-800 and upwards. So it was really cheap stall for me, considering it was 3 days to test the market. So day one, I sold $291.40. I was happy with that for a day one. I was really happy with that actually. And then the Saturday I sold $267. And I did only take a few little tiny mini mushrooms and fairy houses on the Friday, and they sold. So I bought more back on the Saturday and Sunday, and they were kind of propping up the sales quite well. So I made these fussy cut, the collage pages, which basically I did like the vintage ones with my little vintage animals. I did a florals one with my little florals, and I did a quotes one. It was all very last minute. I'm going to refine those products for them this year, and I'm also going to sell them as digital downloads. So I sold a few fussy cuts. I took all of my ceramic transfer papers too, just in case. I did sell a couple, but not many. I wouldn't take them again. I also got it was the first time I sold my A3 colouring in posters as physical posters instead of printables, and I was selling them for $5, and then I upped it to $8, and then I put it back down to $5. They cost me like $1 something from Officeworks to get printed, so I think it's fine as a fast mover. But then I do put them in the plastic sleeves too, which I got to work out how much they cost me. I think it's under $1, but kind of stops being worth it if you're only making a couple of dollars. So yeah, but my stickers, like my design stickers that I do, they were selling really well, much better than I had thought they would, because I didn't think they'd sell, because they're $5 each. And just because for crafters, like I wasn't sure that crafting people would use them, whereas I sort of think they're good for like laptops, drink bottles, all that sort of stuff. But the quotes ones were really popular, and craft people do love a good quote, I have to say. So yeah, the stickers were probably one of the most popular things, to be honest, that sold, and the bookmarks sold all right too. Did I say what day 3 was? No, I didn't. So Friday was $291, Saturday was $267, and Sunday was $241. I was surprised that Friday was the best day. Normally when I do events, Saturday's the best day, but people were saying a lot of people come on the Friday. People came from overseas for this event, so it was pretty cool. So what's that total sales? Total sales for the 3 days of Paperific were don't get that excited, was $799, and it cost me $250. So that gives us, after the stall fee, we come back with $549. I was really happy with that. First craft fair in many years, didn't really know what was selling and what wouldn't, really threw stuff together. So yeah, that was pretty good, all things considered. So that brings us to the end of August. So August total sales, same too, $1,243. Total expenses came to $426, with which, well, that's not, I keep saying total expenses, total stall fees, $426. So that leaves us with $819 after the stall fees taken out. Now we move on to September. September was an interesting month. I just dropped my little vintage deer that I showed you that already had a broken leg. Oh my God. I've completely murdered him now. Oh my God. Where's his head? Oh my God. I feel so terrible. That's what's left. Oh no. I wonder if I can glue him back together. I don't know where his head's gone. That's very sad. Do you know what? Someone clumsy like me having a concrete floor on their studio, not a good combo. Not a good combo. I've been offered one of the spare rugs here because I've already got a rug, but I think I'm going to take it and then I can move my existing rug sideways and then add this rug in. So there's less chance of this happening. Oh no, this is real sad. It's real sad. I don't even know where it's going. I feel really bad. I'm one of those people that feels that thinks inanimate objects have feelings and that they're actually alive. They just don't tell us. So I've literally just murdered my little deer and I feel disgusting. It's okay. We'll fix him. I'm going to find all of his bits and put him back together and still use him. Okay. September. Okay, September. Craft and Quilt Fair. Never doing that one again. Unless I've got like an absolute incredible craft product that I know is going to sell like crazy. They just want your money, those people. They don't care. Anyway, Craft and Quilt Fair was a 4-day event at the Melbourne Convention Centre. So I thought there'd be heaps of people. And I thought it would be a whole room filled with amazing stalls. It was not. It was not. It was about half of the, you know how the convention centre has the big halls? Not even half, I don't think, was filled with actual craft supply stalls. There was a whole section for makers. I just drew on my brand new t-shirt. What's going on? They suggested I go in there. It was much cheaper. It was only, I think, $900. But I was like, are people buying handmade stuff there? But apparently they do, because a friend of mine who does jewelry did really well. I, on the other hand, went, no, put me in the craft supply section. And I had a discounted rate because it was my first time, but it was still like, how much was it? Like $1,700 and something. It was ridiculous. And I just did not get the people through that I thought. I mean, it was busy, but not as busy as I was hoping. How much did it cost me? I'm going to go find my invoice and come back. I was right the first time. It was $1,750 for the stall, which was 4 days, from Wednesday to Saturday. Apparently they don't do the Sunday anymore because they found they weren't getting the traffic, which I'm fine with that. So the first day one, Wednesday. Now, again, Craft and Quilt Fair, I'm like, well, I haven't done all those products designs that I want to do, like the crafting little quotes on keychains and stickers and stuff, which I think would have done really well there. Let's just do the same as we did at Paperific and just take what we've got. A mix of the ceramics, because that'll probably go well. Heaps of the fussy cuts. Problem is, the Craft and Quilt Fair, very different audience to the Paperific. Paperific was purely paper craft. Craft and Quilt Fair, heavy on fabric craft. So lots of quilters, embroiderers. I learnt a lot. I got so many product ideas. I could just start an entire craft range right now. I was like, oh, if I do it next time, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. And then it's like, no, we're not changing our brand to fit an event. What would go well if I did do it though is like the wash away embroidery patterns. So people loved my colouring in poster designs that I had on the wall. And so many people were like, oh my gosh, I would buy that as an embroidery pattern. So I did get some iron-on wash-away embroidery paper from another stall, and I did one of my mushroom designs and I sold it. That was just on the last day though, and I did sell a couple of them. So I mean, could I do my product as embroidery patterns? Potentially. Do I want to go in that direction for my brand? I could, but not when I'm trying to make my business profitable, because it's not currently really that profitable, and I'm trying to build it to the point where I'm able to pay myself a wage of $1,000 a week for myself. So I'm still definitely in the building and growth phase. I'm not in the phase where I can just like go off testing all these different products and hope and pray that they sell. I've got to get my core product offering really stable and robust. And then if we want to go and experiment with different product categories and go down that path, then I can. But until that time, I'm not doing that. So I'm not doing the craft and quilt fair again this year. Absolutely not. I did sell a lot of stickers still. The Friday I sold $292. Was very stressed about that because I was like, oh my God, no, that was the Wednesday. I was like, ooh, that's not a great start. There was a lot of people that came through though, and quite a few of my YouTube subscribers, so that's cool. I sold several of my colouring in posters and books at that event, so they were quite popular. And my normal stickers, again, like these stickers, the $5 each or 3 for $12, they were super popular. On the Thursday, I sold $324, so getting a little bit better. I took a lot more ceramics to this event because I thought that will go. It didn't really go. I sold a few little things like little mushrooms and the fairy houses, but I wasn't selling the ceramics. That was sort of propping up the stall a bit, like later on when I did the Craft Alive as well. Friday I sold $268. Can you imagine? By this time I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? And then the Saturday was busier. I sold $348. So Saturday was the best day. I was so sad. I was so sad. Okay, so for the 4 days, now this was I think 10 till 5 or no, was it 10 or 10 till 4 daily? Can't remember. I made $1,232 and it cost me $750. So I was down just from the stall fee. I was in the red $518. That's not including parking. You have to park. That was, I think, $16 a day. Obviously, I had to have food. I mean, I could have taken my own food, but we know what we're like with that. Petrol going into the city every day. Some days I was running late, so I used tolls. Other days I wasn't, so I didn't use tolls, but that's another $100 just for tolls. So it was an expensive learning lesson. Again, I really, like, if I wanted to go down the craft supplies route, I could do so many things. Like, I could get my own fabric printed. So I've got lots of designs that are repeat patterns that I love that could really look cute as fabric. So where I get my fabric printed in Melbourne, I could literally get them printed by the meter and then cut them into fat quarters, which is more quilter size, and then you can sell them for more because they're quilter size pieces. So I could do that, or I could even go offshore and get my fabric printed by the meter. But that's a whole thing then. That's a whole business. That's a whole other business. And we're not doing that yet, like I said. 10 years, 5 years time, 10 years time, who knows? Maybe. Or maybe I go into licensing, because now that I've learned how to do repeat patterns, although I think I've forgotten again, I'm going to have to relearn. I can do repeat patterns for other companies who do fabric, or I can put my repeat patterns on Etsy and sell as a digital file for people who want to do those like drink bottle clear plastic sheets that you can do. There's like so many. This is a problem with being a creative brain. There's so many different directions you can go in for business. And I have now finally learned when you go too many directions at once, it dilutes the brand and lets you not focus on one thing properly. So that's not what we're doing, okay? Until this brand is extremely profitable and has thousands of dollars sitting in the account, maybe I do set up an account down the track once I've got a stable, really good income coming in, and have like 5 or 10 grand sitting there for R&D, research and development, do a couple of markets, create a whole new product line and see what happens and not worry if it doesn't work. But we're not there, okay? So we're not doing that. The other event for September was our studio market day. So that creative space, I sold $161 and it cost $50. So it was a bit of a slow day, but we only opened last January. So it's only a year old. So it's still building momentum, building the following and all that jazz. Then I did McClelland Market, which was the first of the season in September as well, on the 20th of September. That one I also ran a workshop. So I paid Matt, who is now who's my marketing guy. He covered the store for me for 2 or 3 hours. How much did I pay him? I can't remember. I think actually, no, it was more than 2 hours. I think I paid him. Did I pay him $300? I don't remember. It was a fair bit. It worked out to like 50, or maybe it was 150. Because I don't think he was there for that long. I think I paid him like $50 an hour or something. Yeah, I think I paid him $50. So it's probably like 150. I can't remember, but he left a nice little picture on my sales book. I sold all up $451 at that event, and it cost me, I can never remember how much. I think it's 95. We're just going with 95. And I did pay, I probably should include that, shouldn't I? I'm going to put 150 expenses, direct stall expenses, to cover what I paid Matt, because that obviously is. So that brings my profit down for that one. So that makes expenses, $245. So $451 in sales, less stall fees and paying someone to run it, comes to $206. For McClellan. And that was it for September. So let's add those up for September. Sales $1,683. Stall fees $1,750 and $245. So stall fees $1,995. So still in the red, unfortunately, for September, even with McClelland. So we're negative $312 for September. Awesome. Okay, into October. Now, this is where I'm thinking we should be starting to get some better sales because we're coming into pre-Christmas shopping. Wasn't really the case. I was thinking, I would have thought would be getting up to the $500 minimum per market at this point, but we weren't. So I did Red Hill in October, which was the first one I'd done I did it actually the previous season. I did it inside 2 months and barely covered my stall cost. So I decided Red Hill wasn't for me. Then spoke to a few friends who did it and said, give it another chance, but go outside. And I was like, I don't want to go outside. I don't like marquees. Let me stay inside. And they're like, do outside and see. So I did outside, pleasantly surprised, sold a lot more than just my stall fee. I sold $384. Still not as much as I thought I was going to sell, but I was happy with that. The stall fee, is it $110 or $120? I think it's $120. We're going with $120 for Red Hill. So that leaves $264, I think. I'll double check that. Then the Lost Woods the following week on the 11th of the 10th. Again, I was thinking we'd be coming into better sales for October, but I sold $434. It was so busy too. It's always really busy at that market, but I don't know, it just wasn't happening. Now, I think they increased, did they increase their prices then? I think that increased their market stall price then from $105 to $130. So that would mean we've got $304 minus the stall fee after sales. So $434 less $130 is $304. Then, I did lots in October again, didn't I? How many did I do in October? Oh my God. I did 1, 2, 3, 4. I did 6 markets in October. That's a lot, isn't it? So I did Hampton East for the first time. That's run by Unrivaled. I was happy with that for my first one. I was like, this has got potential. That's the one where my car scraped so bad to get into the park. Oh my gosh. And that one cost 110. So that leaves me with 207. So 317 in sales minus 110 store fee leaves us with 207. Then Emu Plains on the 18th of the 10th. I was happy with this one. I got to 500. I was like, finally, we're getting to the 500s. So Emu Plains, I got to 511. It cost me 125 this time because, and it was the first market of the season because they don't do winter. I did not book for the whole season. If you book for the whole season with Emu Plains, you get a discounted rate, which is I think 110, plus you get a listing on their website. But every time I do a full season, I end up having to miss 1 or 2 markets because I've got something else on, or I'm sick or whatever, or the weather's really bad and I'm just not willing to go, or they've cancelled it because of the bad weather. So I'm just like, this actually not saving me any money by getting the cheaper rate and booking the whole season. I'm just going to do a casual stall and just do, I think I booked October, November, December. And I definitely didn't book for January. I haven't booked for Feb. I think I've booked in for March and April. I'm not sure. I need to check that. Anyway, so 511 in sales. I'm happy with that. Minus $125 stall fee. That leaves us with $386 after the stall fee. Then we've got a double market weekend. I did the 5th market in Chelsea. Great spot, but I did not do well at all. I only sold $253, and that was with a couple of higher priced items. I sold a mug, which was to one of you lovely YouTube subscribers, and I also sold a palette and some minis for $50. So I had some bigger sales, but the sales just weren't there. And I do notice with some Unrivaled events markets, there was quite a few stalls, especially at that 5th market, that was selling just imported stuff. Like, it was definitely just imported stuff, not handmade. So I just think that dilutes the market. And yeah, I don't know. It just wasn't the right fit for me. People were looking. There were quite a few people around, but people just weren't buying my stuff. So I don't know. I decided that immediately that I'm not doing that one again because it's just not worth it. So it cost me $110. I made $253. So that leaves us with $143 after the stall fee. And Chelsea's not super close to me either. It's like 40-minute. I think it was like a 40-minute drive. And then, what have I written here? I've written 6:30. I don't know what's going on with this summer's art fair. I've written $460, but then I've got 630 written. No, 613 written there. I don't know what that means. And I spent so much money on food that day. We're not including food in these totals, but that is, I bought a lot of food. It was really cold. It was wet all day. I don't know what that 613 is. I'm just wondering. I don't know. I'm not going to include it because I don't think I got up to $600. So Summers Art Fair is an annual event run by Summers Primary School. It's their biggest fundraiser. It's an art show, and they do like this cool market, and it's all handmade. I've done it before, and I remember I sold like in the 600s, but it was years ago when I had my shop in Dramata. So it was a collective of not just my stuff, a bit of everyone's stuff. So it was more like a little mini retail shop than just my brand. So yeah, I was expecting to sell in the 600s or 700s, and the people next to me, she was like, I normally sell thousands at this, but obviously the weather impacted it. There was still quite a few people that came out for it, and people were spending a lot of money on art. So people had money to spend. I don't know. It was still worth it. But it was like 10 till 4. So it was a long day. And like I said, I spent so much money on food because I was just tired and cold. So $460 in sales. It cost $70. So that's $390 after. So, I mean, still probably comparing it to some of the other ones, and it's only 20 minutes from my house. It was still worth doing compared to some of the other events. Then that's it for October. That is the 6 events. Let's add that up and see what the total comes to for the month. So the total for October, total sales from markets came to 2,359, which was almost the best sales, except for July because of finders keepers. But the cost was way lower. So I sold 2,359. The events cost me $665. So as opposed to July, where I made 2,786, but the total store costs came to $1,780. So it's more than $1,000 savings by doing more smaller events, more small one-day events, local, like not super far away, instead of big multi-day events, which is what at the end of the year, like when I did this data thing this week with ChatGPT, that's what it showed. It actually showed that I'm better off for my brand, how it is now, to do smaller local artisan markets than the big multi-day events, because I just get more profit from it. So total after store fees have come out, we've made $1,694, which is the best month to date throughout the whole year. We come to November. It's just draining doing so many events though, you know. Like I did 6 in October. I was pretty tired after summers. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess you'd get used to it if you did it every weekend, but it's a lot of time that you can't then focus on other parts of your business. If that's all you're doing, great. Go hard. So first Red Hill of the month. Again, this was November. I seriously thought people would be full on buying their Christmas shopping. They weren't. I only made $371. So taking out the 120 store fee, that's only $251 for a November market. I was really surprised by that one. Oh, hang on. There was a page. Oh no, there was only a page 2 for one sticker. So $376. So $256. 376, 256. Yeah, okay. Oh no, it's 125. It's actually 125, not 120. Okay, so Red Hill made 376, cost 125 for the stall. So left over with 251. Sold quite a few cards at that one, cards and stickers, and I did sell a few little vases as well. Studio Market Day, that's right. We ended up having it inside. So I was just in my studio and I forgot to record how much I made. So sorry about that. I think it was like 200. It was definitely around the $200 mark. So let's just say 200. Studio Market was 200, and I didn't pay for a stall because I ended up just having it in my studio. It was more of an open studio. Then we've got on the 9th of November, we went back to Hampton East because I thought, well, October's done okay. We're in the 300s. Surely November, when people are Christmas shopping, will do better. No, I sold $233 and scraped my car even worse than I did in October. So I had decided that day not doing Hampton East anymore. Actually, I didn't decide that day. I was still going to do December. And then I went, no, why would I do December when it's murdering my car? And like, that's less than, and I had like some of my YouTubers went there, and one lady who lives literally around the corner, I think she follows YouTube or it might be Instagram, can't remember. She's like, the only reason I knew this was on was because I saw it on your thing. So she didn't even know it was on, and she lives around the corner. So obviously they're not advertising that one enough. Anyway, I did love seeing my YouTube. My friend who bought me the snack, that was so beautiful. Oh, I think I'm going to be really good at this year is putting up on my YouTube in just the posts section my upcoming events that I'm doing. So if you are in the area, you can come say hi. Or I'll have more open studios too. How much did that cost? 110. So we made, so after that, 233 less 110 is 123. Not worth it. Craft Alive Gippsland. This was another test. This was another craft fair. I ran workshops at this one, which was the first time I'd run workshops at a craft fair. After seeing them being run at Paperific, I was like, oh my gosh, amazing. I need to do that. But because I was so busy in October with 6 markets, I had zero planning time for Craft Alive. It came around so fast. And they were like, what are your workshops you're doing? What are your workshops? Originally, I was going to do heaps of workshops more around like the junk journal packs and like scrapbooking pages, card making, using my little fussy cuts that I've designed. I just couldn't, I was so tired. I just could not get that together. Like I just couldn't. In hindsight, I'm like, why didn't I just do it? But I was just like mentally done and physically done. So I pulled up 2 workshops. I ran the it was not pot painting, it was pot decorating with Posca pens. That was one workshop, had nothing to do with anything I was selling on my stand. I did want to get Poscas in to sell, but they're so expensive, even wholesale to buy, and I just didn't have the money. And then the other thing was a journal cover. We did line drawing, like doodling, which was fine, kind of in line with my stuff, but not really. Such big opportunity missed there to promote the stuff I was actually selling. Big learning lessons on that one. And the first day, the Thursday, and there was nowhere near as many people through as I thought there was going to be. And my ceramics did terribly at that one. Again, I thought I'd take all these ceramics to prop up the fact that I didn't have enough craft supplies. Didn't work here at all. Day 1, I sold 261. The workshop sort of propped it up a little bit, thankfully. I did sell a paint palette on that day 1 though as well. And I did sell a vase and mushrooms and cards for $80 too. Friday I sold hardly anything. The Friday was so quiet. I sold 129. The Saturday I sold 241. So again, the first day of the craft fair was the best. Interesting. I don't think I'm going to do that one again. It's in Lardner Park, which is just near Warragul. I don't know. I feel like with the craft fairs, you either be in the city or super regional. I don't think that area kind of was conducive. All up, I made 631 plus I also sold an additional 161 through the craft fair for workshops. So they deposited that into my account. The stall fee for this event cost $618. So I really didn't. So including all of the workshops, I made $792. The stall fee was $618. So I'm not in the red immediately, but yeah, I did learn a lot for that one. If my stall had been much better, like supplied with my paper craft stuff, I feel like it could have done better. But this year I'm probably going to try the Bendigo Craft Alive event because I've heard that can be quite good. I'll have much more conducive stock that goes with everything. The little mini collage books that I was selling at Woodford that you remember seeing, I did sell them there as well and they went really well. So I've actually finally found the manufacturer of these. So I've ordered 50 of each design and they're going to be one of the key things I sell at the craft fairs this year. And I'm also going to center some of the workshops around those little books, as well as centering them around my fussy cuts, which are the digital downloads, or you can buy in person physical at the craft fairs. I've also gotten my koala, Charlie the koala design, this guy, but without the colors, made into a stamp. It didn't come in time for the craft fair, which I was hoping it would because I wanted to sell it, but I only had one design, so I'm not sure how it would have gone anyway. I haven't even tested it. It's been sitting in the box since November. I got it at the end of November. I haven't even tested it to see if it's actually a good stamp. I'm too scared in case they didn't do it properly because I didn't get a sample. It was going to be so much money to get a sample. I was just like, just do 200. So it cost, can't remember how much it cost me. It was like $250 or something. And I'll probably sell them for like $10 retail and then maybe sell them $5 for wholesale. I'm not sure yet, but I haven't even checked to see if it worked out. I should do that. Okay. Anyway, back to where we were. So only in the green by like $100-something. I'll work that out in a minute. And then I did multiple events. Hang on a second. How many events did I do in November? Did I do more events in November than I did in October? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my God. I did 8. I did 8 events in November. And one of them was a 3-day event. What? No wonder I was so tired. Holy sheesh, Louise. That's crazy. Okay. Well. Okay. So, yeah, 4 events literally like halfway through the month. Okay. Okay, then on the, what date was that? The 21st of November, I did the Broadway Theatre, which was a new venture in Rosebud, so literally 5 minutes down the road. I know have taken over what was the old theatre, and they're really trying to revamp it. They wanted it to become a theatre again, and they're just trying a few different things to see what works, what the community wants. One of them was an evening art market, and it went really well. A lot of people came. It cost $70, pretty sure from memory. And I sold $319, and I really didn't have much expectation for that one because I wasn't sure how it was going to go. I wasn't sure if lots of people would come, but I think that has good potential. I actually said to them, I'd love to see it as a Friday night and then all day Saturday event once a quarter. I think that has incredible potential because they're getting the right audience. They're getting the right people to that event, people who are spending money on and appreciate art and handcrafted products. They were the people who were coming. So it definitely has potential. I'd love to see that as a quarterly event. I almost want to put my hand up to help organise it because my teacher, Jude, my pottery teacher, Jude, was kind of the main person organising it. She doesn't love social media. And there really wasn't much on Facebook. I put a thing on Facebook at the event as it was happening, and everyone was like, afterwards, we would have liked to know. So I think if it was better promoted, it really has a really good chance of being a really good staple event for Rosebud and the Southern Mornington Peninsula. Anyway, let's go to the 22nd of the November, which was the very next day. I did McClellan. I got to 500. I was, if you've watched that, if you remember that vlog, I was so tired. And now we know why. I'm doing 10 million events in 1 month. I got to $500 just. I still can't remember how much this one costs. I think it's $95. It's definitely not $100. Yeah. Hello. No wonder I was so tired. I was doing so many events. Anyway, it was a good day. Fun as next to Juz and Bev from here. And I just had a great time. I was really struggling though. If you remember, I got my souvlaki, which I thought would help wake me up because it's got the lettuce and tomato and stuff, but it actually just made me super tired. And then I had the yummy chocolate coated strawberries. They were delicious. And it took me so long to pack up after that event. So long. Anyway, this video is going way longer than I was expecting because I don't shut up. Then the next weekend, literally purely for the YouTube vlog, did I do these 2 events. Well, actually, the Womanhood Project, I think, has good potential too. The Common Folk Christmas Market, honestly, didn't think it was going to do much. It was a 3-hour event. It cost $60. I sold 164. I didn't think it was going to do good. Didn't think it was going to do quite that bad. But it's fine. I actually chatted to heaps of local people. If I was to do it again this year, I'd do it more as an awareness event, marketing for here, for that creative space, just to get more people knowing about it. So, and just take heaps of flyers and still take product, but really promote this space. So yeah, I would probably do it again just for that. And it's 3 hours, so it's not hard. The Womanhood Project, which was the next day, like an all-day event, and the market room was open sort of between events. I wasn't sure how that would go. I only sold $105. I really was hoping to sell a bit more at that event. It cost me $60, but I participated in a number of the workshops that they had. I participated in the cacao ceremony first thing in the morning at 7 o'clock. I participated in some of the other things. So it was a really beautiful event. The people were lovely. It has big potential, and some of the necklaces that I bought in for Woodford, I feel like could do really well with the crowd, the Womanhood Project crowd, because they're much more sort of spiritual, got symbolism and stuff. So if I do that event again, I might take more of that sort of stuff, more symbolic jewelry sort of thing, stuff that maybe I make but also just buy in, because it wasn't a rule it had to be handmade. There were quite a few stalls there that had just bought stuff in, but it was nicely curated. It wasn't like cheap shit from overseas or Temu or whatever. It was nicely curated, the stuff that wasn't handmade. So that is it for November. Holy cow, that is a lot. That's 8 events. Okay, let's add it up. Hi, I'm back home editing this video and I've just realised I didn't actually tell you the totals for November. So, the totals for November, total sales came to $2,690, total cost of stall came to $1,138. So left over we had $1,552. Now let's get back to the video. Hey, now we are to the last month of the year, and our first and only smaller one-day event was Rose Street Market. That was on a Sunday. Ideally, I would like to get into this market on a Saturday because I personally find Saturday markets to be way better than Sunday markets in my personal experience with my brand. But I took it because I have never done Rose Street. I've applied multiple times and have not gotten in. So I was very happy to finally get in. And I mean, we had a good day. I only sold 478. I thought I would minimum get to 500 or 600. I really did, because it was like the 7th of December. So peak Christmas shopping time. But it just, whatever, it wasn't hitting. I don't know. I'd like to go through. So what I'm going to do this year, if I do events again that I tried out last year, I'm going to go through and see exactly what sold well, and then sort of make sure I'm taking more of that stuff. Stickers were the biggest one, I think. Yeah, stickers, a few cards, necklace, a few little vases. Oh, the bigger $25 vases, actually, I sold a few of those, and a wall hanging. Bit of a mix, but stickers always just go, don't they? That one cost, I think, $75. I'm saying 75, I can't be bothered looking. It's around that. Okay, my phone's about to die, so let's get this done. And then that brings us to the big boy, the finale of the year, which was Woodford. Now, although Woodford did go into the first day of January, I'm just going to count it all as 2025. I'm not going to worry about one day. So, Woodford, as you will know if you've just watched the vlog of Woodford, I ended up selling $4,221. I'm just thinking, although I haven't included travel, accommodation and stuff in any of the other events, I feel like I need to include it to this one, because there's no negotiable, there's no way I could have done this event. It's not like an optional cost. It was part of the stall fee to get there. I don't know, what do you think? Yeah, because if I don't include the $2,000 for travel, then it's going to distort the figures. It's going to make it look like December was my best month for sales, when in fact it was not, because I didn't break even basically. So I'm going to so the stall fee was $1,965. I'm going to add $2,000 onto that, which is the trip there, accommodation, petrol, food, and the trip back, accommodation, petrol and food. It was more expensive to get up there because we had 2 extra nights in motels, but also, yeah, we spent a bit more going to places as well. So it works out to basically $1,000 there, $1,000 back. So I'm definitely including that. So, and we're doing the $20 plant hire as well. So $1,985 plus $2,000 to get there. I didn't do that for Adelaide, I know, which I should, but there's a big difference. It costs probably would have nearly cost. What month did I do? May. May, there's no risk of May being our best month, so we're not worrying about that. Okay. The McClelland ended up so the $478 less the store fee, $75. McClelland's on $75. McClelland's. Oh no, that was Rose Street. Okay, so Rose Street Market, $478 in sales minus the store fee $75. That brings us to $403. Then we've got Woodford, 4,221 in sales, minus the store fee of 1985 and the plant hire, and 2,000 travel expenses. That leaves us with $236. And I can tell you we spent that $236 in 2 days on food. Sales for December from Rose Street Market and Woodford, $4,699. Store fee and travel for Woodford, $4,060. So that leaves us $639. So that is the full year, my market's full year. So how many events does that include? So for 2025, I did 40 markets. 40 events, I should say. I did 40 events. Within that 40 events, it included 8 multi-day events. So 32 single day events and 8 multi-day events. Now looking at this, let's do a total sales. Total sales from markets for 2025 is $21,171. Total cost just for the stall fee plus the travel for Woodford comes to $12,879. So that leaves us with $8,292, which is not a good margin for when you're doing markets. You kind of want your stall costs to be like a quarter or less. I mean, I know some people who work on 10%. So to make 20 grand, they're only wanting to spend 2 grand. So, but I think like a good number would be at least like a quarter of the price. Anyway, so we can end up with $8,292. Now, if we roughly take off another, say 27%, which would be cost of goods, okay? And that includes my making time. In my cost of goods, I include the time it takes to make the product. If it's ceramics, if it's art-based, I don't include the time it takes to make me an art piece, because I could have art pieces going for years unfinished and then I'll quickly finish them. So I don't include the art, like for stickers and greeting cards, I don't include the design time. Now, but if we take out an average of 27% for cost of goods, that brings us down to $6,000. Editing me again, I've just realized the 27%, I did that on the wrong figure. I did that on what was left over after I took stall fees out, but I should have actually done that on the total income, because 27% cost of goods is on the total income of sales. So after I take out the stall fees, the cost of goods for the total income comes to $5,716. So what we're left with after we take out cost of goods and stall fees is $2,576. Okay, now let's get back to the hours. For hours worked, for single day events, which are average usually around 5 hours long, I also add in 3 hours at the start for setup, because I have to pack everything from my studio, wrap everything. Ceramics take a long time to prep for a market. You have to make sure it's all wrapped properly, pricing everything, getting to the site, getting to the venue, setting up your marquee, and then I allow 2 hours post-event for pack down. So that's packing up the marquee, packing everything, getting back to the studio, unpacking things. It's much quicker doing at the end rather than at the start. So for every event, regardless of how long it is, I allow an extra 5 hours. So 3 hours set up, 2 hours pack down. Based on that, for 32 single day events that are average 5 hours event, I add on my extra 5 hours. So my single day events are taking me around 10 hours, okay? 10 hours out of my day. 32 times 10 is 320 hours. And then for the multi-day events, I'm not going to go through, and I'm literally running out of phone here. And I'm also getting sick of hearing my own voice. So we're just averaging it. So we're going to do an average of 30 hours for the multi-day events, okay? Some were more, some were less. We'll do 30 hours. Times 8 multi-day events, that's 240 hours. So all up on markets, on average, I've spent around 560 hours for markets, okay? So with our $6,000 income amount, after we've taken out cost of goods and store fees, not taking out petrol or anything like that, we're working at about $10 an hour for 560 hours. So that's great, isn't it? Not really. Me again, now that I've worked out the 560 hours on the actual figure which was $2,576. Guess how much I'm making per hour on those 560 hours of markets? $4.60. So that's why big changes are happening this year. I'm not doing anywhere near as many markets. I'm probably doing 10 to 15, mostly single day events. I am still doubling in a few multi-day events because I really want to give those craft fairs a go and see if I've got a much better curated collection of products to offer and more curated workshops to offer as part of that event, just to see if I can bump that income up from those events. And I'm also testing out another supernova, but with my kids doing their fan art. So it's just mainly more for that. I cannot spend that much time on markets when I'm not making enough profit. So I'm excited for this year, much more intentional with the markets that I do. Not all of them are the number one priority is cash flow. Some of them, the number one priority is product market fit testing, like the craft fairs. Some of them might just be brand awareness. Some of them might be purely because I think the YouTube vlog that goes along with that event will be incredible. So there's a few different reasons, but I'm going into them knowing why the reason I'm doing it. So if I do it for research development to see if it's a good product market fit, then if I'm not making heaps of money from it, I'm not going to be sad and depressed and questioning my life choices like I was at the end of some of these events last year. I'm also going to free up hundreds of hours to work on other parts of my business that I want to focus on in 2026, which include wholesale printables, which are digital download products, and YouTube. I'm going to do a whole video on that, on my direction for 2026, because there's no time in this one. That will be the next video. And yeah, I'm excited to share, I'm really going deep. I want to have really great printables. I want to show people how to use printables. Wholesale, I've got big goals to get heaps more stockists. I'm probably around between 15 and 20 stockists at the moment. Really going to streamline and systemize that part of my business so that I'm regularly checking in with current stockists, regularly reaching out to potential new stockists. There's a whole thing. So I'll go into that in that video. But let's just go through real quick before we finish this video. First of all, the biggest income month obviously was December because of Woodford. But since Woodford kind of, was not profitable, kind of just covered. And also, I'm just going to say again, if you haven't watched my Woodford vlogs, I'm so glad I did Woodford Folk Festival. I will lie on my deathbed, hopefully when I'm super old, 90 or 100, and be able to think back on that and go, I'm so glad I did that. I'm so glad I had the experience, even though it wasn't anywhere near as profitable as I would have liked. I've had it on a bucket list of things to do for my business for over 10 years, over a decade. So I'm glad I took the plunge. It was a really scary event to jump into, not having done it before. So I'm really happy that I did it. So don't feel sorry for me for doing it and not making any money out of it, because it was just a great experience. Had a great time with my girls. It was just lovely. So I do not regret doing it whatsoever. If I had to do it again, if I could rewind, go in a time machine, I would do it again. So that was obviously the biggest month. But apart from that month, the next biggest month was November, it was actually July. Oh, that's because finders keepers. But again, the actual income after the store, let's just look at this instead, because these bigger events are giving us fake news. So the best month once the stall fee was taken out was, let's see, $1,200, $1,600 was October. So October I did 6 events and I made a total of $2,359, but the stall fees only came to $665, so I actually ended up with $1,694 leftover income from that. So that's pretty interesting. And that was, October really was a lot of local. I don't even think, let's see the furthest I went for October. Craft and Quilt Fair was October. So it was Red Hill, 10 minutes up the road. Lost Woods is like nearly an hour, but it's a nice drive. Chelsea, it's probably 40. Emu Plains, 20 minutes away. Chelsea, the 5th Market's like 40 minutes away. Summer's Art Fair's 20 to 25 minutes away. So mostly fairly close, apart from Hampton and Chelsea. Yeah, so definitely focusing more on the local events this year, the ones that am doing. Next event I've got coming up is McClellan Makers Market on the 31st of January. I'm not sure if that will be a good one or not. And then I've got the Ultimate Girls Weekend at the end of Feb, which is, I haven't done this event before. It's kind of Seven Sisters vibe, which I used to do for years. Still working out the good product mix. I feel like it'll be a similar vibe to Woodford. So I'm going to be very intentional about what I take. I'm going to really look back through the Woodford sales and sort of relate that to what I think that will happen at the Ultimate Girls Weekend. I've reduced the stall size from a 3x6 because I was going to run workshops out the back, just to a 3x3 because I didn't have the money to pay for the extra $350 or $400. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. It'll be a good vlog, that one. Anyway, one last interruption. I did want to share my top selling and worst selling products for 2025. That is my plant shadow in my face. But it didn't do, the ChatGPT did a terrible job at collating that. But basically, like the figures were a bit mushed up and it's completely forgotten now. And I went in to ask it and it's just making stuff up. So my best, like my most product sold was definitely stickers, but obviously they're at lower price. So they sold the most out of everything. And best ceramics thing was the mini fairy houses, closely followed by small vases and the mini mushrooms. And that's my biggest income earner was the ceramics, in particular the mini things. So like the mini mushrooms, mini vases and mini fairy houses combined were my biggest sales generator for the year. So those and the stickers were best. Greeting cards, surprisingly, although they sold okay, one of the lowest income earners, and they take up a lot of space on my market stall. So really considering whether or not to, well, I think I'll always take greeting cards, but maybe condense the amount that I take for future events. So I'm having a big think about that. Okay, let's finish this video here. Thanks for watching. I thought this was going to be a quick 10-minute video. I feel like it's gone for an hour or more. I've been sitting in my studio for like over 3 hours now recording this, but obviously once it's edited it won't be that long. So thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. If you're getting into markets now, I do have my top 10 tips for markets, but that was from like 5 years ago. So I think I'll redo that in the next couple of months so that you've got a freshie, including like a free or cheap checklist, downloadable, printable for your what to take to markets and stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great rest of your day and I appreciate you. And if you subscribe, you're extra awesome legend. I love you. Goodbye.